How we doing, everyone? Welcome back. Good morning. Feels like it hasn't been a long time since I've last seen you all yesterday. I hope everyone is doing well today and excited for another day of World Cup football, another day of obviously no overreactions to anything related to United. Another day of recognizing where we are. I'm excited for that. I'm sure everything is very calm in here and in the United space in general. Indeed. But how you guys doing? Doing well? I am good. We will be watching England versus Congo here shortly as well. We will for sure be doing that. Think of the money we'll save with no signings. Indeed. And then think of how much money we'll have for signings later when we save all our money by making no signings. It's going to be incredible. It's going to be amazing. It's going to be fantastic. No, but look, I mean, honestly, I think that people are very concerned at the moment. Very concerned at the moment. And I appreciate people's concerns right now and where everyone is at. Not to say that I necessarily agree, but I appreciate them all the same. Where's these? Why are these not coming in? Why are these messages not coming in? I'll read them out anyway. Hello, Mr. Muppet Man. Out of 10, how optimistic are you? I'm like an 8 still. I'm pretty good. As long as I feel that there is the possibility, the serious possibility of Aurelien Tchouameni, which I still believe is a serious possibility, then I will be optimistic over our situation. I like the targets we have right now, but for the life of me, why aren't we going for Manu Kone? Proper player and very, very cheap. I don't get it. You know, Manu Kone is an interesting one because both United, Liverpool, and such were following him for such a long time. And then Chelsea too, if you recall. And then nobody has done a deal for him. Chelsea were very close to signing him at one point. Liverpool were very close to signing him at one point. United were very close to not very close, but following him. And this has been going on for years with Manu Kone, and yet nobody has signed him. I'm trying to remember what I heard years ago, but there was some... Generally, when that happens, there are complications around the player, like be it agents, be it, you know, something that makes it hard to sign them. But I've never really known, because personally I like Kone. I've seen a fair bit of him, you know, as again, I know that United and other clubs were following him, but nobody has ever actually kind of moved it forward into a signing. And yeah, it's hard to know exactly why.
Lamans is indeed a great signing.
Oh, there we go. Maybe the
but
other ones just came in early.
But our indecisiveness last summer around GK cost us at the start of the season. I just hope we do not be indecisiveness this summer with the mid.
Indecisiveness. Yeah, look, and I get that for sure too, right? The fact that, you know, we were a little bit slow on moving for the goalkeeper at the end of the day. It took us a little bit of time. I will say that, you know, financially, our situation was a lot different last summer. I will say that with any of our anything that I say in terms of, you know, United being in good shape or what happens this summer, I don't think it would be acceptable to leave key signings to the last week of the window. if you're signing extra players, their depth, their additional players, things like that, I totally understand, going for that later on in the window, doing some of the things at the end, right? But we had our forwards sorted out early. The goalkeeper thing was really complicated because of Onana, by India, just it was complicated. And then we were, look, taking a risk on a young goalkeeper was probably the most risky thing that United have done. When you look at Lamens, right? Because a goalkeeper is it's such an important position, and young goalkeepers tend to make a lot of mistakes. And then at dropping a young goalkeeper in a high pressure situation, it's great Lamens worked out. It's fantastic scouting, and I'm super happy it worked out the way that it did. It was definitely risky, goalkeeper in particular. You can sign young players for other positions because you have other options. You can't really keep swapping your goalkeepers around during the season, to protect them. You can't really do that. You don't have that option. So I was understandable that they spent more time trying to work on the Emi Martinez deal, but it was very expensive. They did not think they'd get a goalkeeper come like end of July, because it was just the Emi Martinez one was looking too difficult, and it was like, man, do we take a risk on a young goalkeeper in Lamens? Like, it is risky, but they did it. They went forward with it. They got it. I'm not sure it was indecisiveness, more so just the challenges that they were facing last summer at that point in time, and they were focused on the other positions. But yeah, we can't leave everything too late, especially in the midfield. In the midfield, there's other positions we can, if we sign a backup winger in August, mid-August, I don't care, man. That's fine. It doesn't matter to me. If we sign a backup striker late in the window, I'm not worried. That doesn't bother me. If we sign any of those kind of rotational spots later on in the window, it doesn't bother me. But we do need to have our midfield set, at least two, with time to work with in preseason. And obviously Ederson being one, the second one I think needs to be a serious signing and somebody that they can play with. Now, at the same time, because of the World Cup, does it really matter? It is a little bit weird, because besides Scott, I mean, I'm looking at the names out here, right, that we could be going for moving forward. Obviously, Buwadi, for example, he's with the World Cup. They could be with there for a while. Morocco are good, But Chouameni, as we know, will be gone for a while. France probably going to I can't see France not getting near the final when you watch them play. So it's definitely going to take some time for some of those guys. And they really will only be many of the people we're talking about could only join in August anyway, So yeah, but we certainly need to have I guess what I would say is we definitely need to know, right? We need to know where we're at by well before August. We need to know within the next couple of weeks exactly what our midfield's going to look like next season, where we're headed, where it's going, and what our team is gonna look like. Here's the thing, guys. I just want to say once again, it's not about being cheap, and I'm sorry, but that is the most boring argument. It's not about being cheap. Okay. It's not about being cheap. We got to stop talking about being cheap. It has nothing to do with being cheap. It just doesn't. It has nothing to do with being cheap. It's an unintelligent argument. United are not being cheap. United didn't play cheap last season. They spent 75 million on Sheshko. They spent 70 million on Mbumo. They spent 62.5 million on Cunha. They weren't being cheap. They offered 75 million for Baleba. United aren't cheap, okay? Like I don't really. It's a silly thing. They're not cheap. Buying players you don't rate that highly at unbelievable prices is not being, it's not doing that. It's not being cheap. You know, that's the crazy part. That's the thing. It's just not. They're not cheap. United under hold on here. Like, hold on, guys. Yeah. United are not cheap. United are you know, end of the day, just wanting to buy the players they want to buy. You know, I mean, United put an offer forward essentially of up to £80 million for Mateus Fernandes. How is that being cheap? You know, they simply paid, offered to put 60 to 65 million forward, 60 to 65 million pounds forward up front for a player, and we're willing to go all the way to 80. It has just nothing to do with it, you know? But it's just, it makes no sense. None of that makes any sense. And I want to address one other point on here, because look, at the end of the day, as we've been speaking all summer, United have to sign some players. And I recall when I was being negative on the Fernandes deal, people were getting a bit agitated, and I was saying, look, I get it, but there's a lot of reasons this deal might not happen that people may not like, but obviously United have to sign some players this summer. Nobody's disputing that. Nobody's arguing with that. United have to sign some good players this summer. They have to get the job done at the end of the day. That's more important than the financial optics of this thing, right? It's not better to sign nobody. It's actually impossible to sign nobody. United have to sign players. They need to sign more midfielders. They have to get numbers in the door one way or another. It's not better to spend nothing just because the deals are bad than it is to sign players. But it is early. It is early. One of the things that I want to dispel, that's a myth, that I don't think is true, is that Mateus Fernandes was our top target, you know, and he was the first alternative to Elliot Anderson. It's not true. You know, one of the problems that I do see that frustrates people with when they're looking at our midfield overall is how they believe the rebuild was supposed to go.
Scott and Chouameni, unrealistic emo, or Bailba. Great
Sure.
options there.
Yeah,
Thoughts?
I think that's great. Yeah, I think that's very, very possible. I think that's very possible that that's where we end up, somewhere in that range. But, you know, people have this idea, of course, that I said it before, people keep going on this, well, there's the third midfielder, and there's the second midfielder, and there's the first midfielder. It doesn't really work that way, you know? Like I put this out yesterday, because this is you know, you guys have heard me say this a number of occasions, and you look at a lot of replies, and it's a lot of like, oh, moving to different targets, you know, why would we go for Anderson and then Chouameni, and it's different, and it's, you know, they're all different profiles and things like that, and it's like, yep, they are. Because United need a variety of different profiles in the team. It's not about first, second, third, fourth, starting, this, that, the other. United need a variety of different profiles within the team. And they need to spend enough money to, you know, they need to spend enough money to sort that out, to have a variety of different profiles in the team. And that doesn't mean you just overpay for everybody. You know, that doesn't mean you go and spend a bunch on this or that. We want different players. We want a lot of different profiles. We obviously want more your all-round kind of box-to-box, can do everything with an Ederson. We want, more physical. We have a few more physical, deeper sitting types of profiles. Chouameni, Buwadi, Baleba, Sanderberg, they all fit a certain different type of profile. They're not identical, but they all fit a different type of profile. And then you have your Andersons, Mateuses, and then the thing is that you have players that are felt to be good enough to kind of fit into anything. United just want a lot of profiles. That's it. They want a lot of profiles. They want to be able to mix and match on the midfield, and they also want a lot of things so that they can move forward, eventually as Bruno Fernandes, ages, which is going to happen overall.
James, if Gilberto Mora is on the transfer list, he's looking really good at age 17.
He's on the list of a whole number of clubs. He's on the list of a whole host of clubs looking at him, but it's not. It's nothing really there on it as of yet in terms of happening, especially because he also literally can't transfer at the moment, but maybe later. But yeah, look, they need to sign someone, and it's kind of a funny situation, right? Because if you go through all of the reports that are out there at the moment, understandably, it's like Scott, not going to be sold. Buwadi, too expensive and loaned back. Chouameni, not leaving Madrid. If you go through every report, every single reporter is going to tell you that the deal isn't going to happen. Right? Every report says that. It's why it's not going to happen. That's everything that's out there. To some degree, a large part of that is because most of the reporting is coming from one side, one direction. But that, it is funny in that sense, because I do get where people are frustrated, and I'm not sure it's helpful, because I keep seeing things repeated over and over and over and over and over and over and over again about how all these players aren't available and all these players aren't going to be sold. Except, if you go through most summers, they get sold. They move.
Manuke won a target. There were talks of Xerxes plus cash for him.
We just talked about that one. Again, he's been on the list of quite a few clubs, including Liverpool, United, and Chelsea over the years, but nobody's really ever made a move for him. Maybe he could come up. I'm not aware personally of anything serious at the moment with him, but certainly it's not like they're not aware of him, but I'm not sure he's felt to somebody that is a necessary profile when you have Kobbie Mainoo. But it is funny because it's like over and over and over and over and over the same reports about how none of these players are going to be sold. And yet every summer, tons of players are sold and tons of players move and tons of things happen. It happens all the time. It's like a lot of these players will be sold. And you get that essentially. And it's kind of funny because the market's been going this way since PSR. And I know that people don't want to hear this, but we talked about it last year and we talked about it the year before. The majority of deals have been moved into July and August over the last few years because of PSR.
Me of the Sesko saga last year, how we weren't in for him for a litany of reasons until when we eventually got him.
And valid things. I mean, I've valid things. You had conversations with people, good sources, people at the club, people would know, and they go, Sesko, no, it's not going to happen because of this and that, and not really worth that kind of money. And then, we signed Sesko, and literally, you would not believe the level of individual I heard from telling me at one point we weren't going to get a goalkeeper. It wasn't going to happen. And then what did we do? We got a goalkeeper, because it is what it is, man. It genuinely is what it is. Okay. That it's just, we don't have to worry about that. But for years since PSR, we've seen an enormous shift in the financials into July. because a lot of clubs spend June balancing the books, figuring things out. I mean, remember even Ineos's first summer when they were in, when we didn't even have a whole team in. We did nothing over June. We spent the whole June trying to decide if we were going to sack Ten Hag or not. And then in July, we signed like 5 players. It was just like boom, 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 you know? And
if anyone here is dooming, to make it worse, we could have had a front line of Elise, Dembele, and Holland.
Okay, to be fair, we could have signed Holland and Dembele. We could not have signed Elise. He just didn't want us. But we did want him. It would have been nice. But the deals across football have been moving into July. Now, there's obviously a few clubs that have moved a little bit early.
I don't understand why everyone is so set on him not moving when the Real Madrid reporters are
they just
saying
don't know.
to sell somebody.
Look, they just don't know. And it's the reality is what I shared yesterday on Chouameni. Right now, from agents and whatever, everyone's going to just talk about he's not leaving, because he's not going to be the decision about him not leaving, or about the questions about him potentially staying, that situation isn't being resolved until he comes back. And it is, unfortunately, means we're going to have to wait on this a little bit. That situation isn't going to be resolved for now. It just isn't. He's going to have to come back. Those conversations are going to have to occur between him and the club. And we're going to have to see where we land with that at the end of it. It's new contract or leave. But those discussions with him in Madrid aren't happening right now. It's essentially on pause because of the World Cup. There could be little movements in between, knockout games. Maybe with a few days in between, there might be a couple calls or conversations that go on. But it's going to be slow moving. And again, as I was mentioning yesterday, the wages, the other situation, it's all leverage on the standpoint of he still has this option to decide whether they're going to renew his contract at Real Madrid. He has that option. They have that option, right? So that one is one that is going to take a bit of time. And in the meantime, I'm completely unconcerned by repetitive reports of, well, we're not sure if he's going to leave Madrid. You do have tier 1 reporters that say Madrid are now open to it, okay? On his side, nothing's changed until they actually have those conversations, but there's a lot of good signs there, in my opinion, to kind of move this forward and make it possible. So, that's certainly one to watch at this point in time. Definitely, it really is, and I think it's a serious topic. But I know that it's frustrating seeing everybody going over and over. We're not signing anyone. Everyone we're linked to is not happening for a variety of reasons. It's just kind of funny because the one that everybody was saying, I can't see it not happening, this, that, and the other, was Mateus Fernandes, and I kept saying, I don't think so. I'm just on the opposite. I guess I'm just going against the wave here because, people were talking like it's impossible for Spurs to get Mateus from United and all sorts of crap, and then he signs for them, I can't tell you anything except to have a little bit of faith, because I don't know how to say it otherwise. You know what I mean? Because we're talking about things that haven't happened yet. That's the issue. We're talking about things that haven't happened yet. There's no amount of reassurance I can give that's going to make people confident that we're going to get some good business done here. But I am confident we're going to get some good business done here. I think that the reports on a number of players are just overly negative and are not necessarily even accurate on that sense. I think as well that, one of the interesting things here for me is that this idea about Spurs, and it being like all this money that they're spending, like it's all going to work out. We've done this before, man. We've done all this before. We did this with Liverpool. We've done this with Spurs. We've done this ourselves. You know, I've been saying all summer what people don't get. People talk constantly about pull and like, oh, you got to convince players to join and do a good job of that and everything. The reality is that players who fall in all in two categories. They either want the project or they want money. You understand me? People going to Spurs right now want money. That's the truth. They want money. And, you know, we've been there. I said for years, you know, I remember saying this like a few weeks ago and people giving me a really hard time about it when I said United's pull isn't as good anymore. And that largely when we were pulling all of these top players for a while there, it was money. It was huge wages that we were offering that was making it happen. The Spurs thing is evidence that once again, I was 100% correct. It's all about wages. Mateus Fernandez, $250,000 a week. Tonali, $275,000 to $300,000 a week. This is why they can pull players. This is where they have pull. It's all money. It's all just throwing money at the problem, but it does not result in what you want in the dressing room. It's just the truth. We spent years, people complaining about the dressing room. Our squad is rotten. It's rotten to the core. The culture is bad. These players don't care. They're just here for a paycheck. And then the minute we want to, other teams start throwing massive wages at players to convince them. We can't just go back to that. We can't go back. We just keep going. But it's not nearly as negative on all these players as the reports are naming it. It's actually quite frustrating seeing all this rehash. Just as it was frustrating to me talking about Mateus Fernandez and seeing a bunch of shit rehashed about how we would sign him when I kept saying we wouldn't and that there were serious problems with the deal, you know? It's mostly just rehash, okay? Over and over and over again from one side of it. It's not nearly as negative on these deals as it's being made out. It's not been nearly as negative on Tchouaméni. It's not been nearly as negative on Alex Scott. There's a lot of players out there that are options for us right now. A lot. I do think, you know, it might be suitable for United to move on some other positions if some of the midfielders are in positions where they have to wait. But there's a lot more players available and things available than they want that are out there. You know, but yeah, it's exactly that, Ramo. I mean, when Chelsea were doing it, remember all these experts, they won the Club World Cup. The rebuild's so good, $2 billion down to win a Conference League. And people were sucking it off and scared and worried about Chelsea. And I kept saying, okay, like, what are you doing here, man? Chelsea's rebuild is a total fugazi. People did it with Liverpool last year. Look at all the players they bought. Look at their ambition, $400 million. They're going to win it all. Okay, you know? And now people are doing it with Spurs. Who would I take, Tyler Adams or Sanderberg? Sanderberg. I like Tyler Adams as an American. I also know what his limitations are. I think he makes for a very, very good squad six. I think Berg offers you a little bit more, and I think that Tyler's had some injury issues that have worried me quite a bit over the years. That is why I'm not like sold on. I wouldn't be sold on bringing him in or his availability, even outside of rate, you know, of how you might rate him. I'm not sold on those issues. He's got a few issues there. What is going on? Let me get this thing on really quick here. Second, guys. You guys can see where we're at watching this England versus Congo game.
Our strategy leads targets to a test. Do you want to play for us? If so, the fee is worth it. Fernandez failed. Next one, we will know is committed.
Right. And look, I just don't see a problem with that, you know? I really don't see a problem with that. I'm sorry, I don't. Look, it's like everybody's going to have a different perspective on this. For me, I am a huge, huge, huge believer in the mental aspect of football. How many times do I talk about it all the time? You know, about commitment, about the aspects of intensity, the aspects of energy. Right, Paul. When we were saying signing mercenaries with Woodward, it was we need players to bleed for the badge. Now now when we don't sign those mercenaries, it's you got to pay the wages to convince them. No, you don't, man. I'm a firm believer in one thing. Okay, firm believer in one thing. I think that a team of players committed to the cause will beat a team of players with more talent that are not committed to the cause every time, over and over and over. I think that, and look, there's obviously a balance in that. Like you can't be miles and miles below it. Talent will outweigh you at that point in time. But there is a level of togetherness, coordination, and success. And I think I always use Liverpool. I always use Liverpool, and you could even use Arsenal, even though they play crap football, as an example of this. Okay, when you look at Arsenal, you look at their forwards. On paper, is crap. Honestly, Martinelli, Gyökeres, Havertz, injured Saka most of the time. They have some good players. Odegaard is not that good. They have some very good players, but you have to give it to them and Arteta for one thing, which I hate giving them credit for. I hate giving them credit for it, but what you have to give it to them. Oh my God, England concede? Oh, they've conceded. They've conceded. They've absolutely conceded there. Oh my God, what a flip too. What a celebration. What a celebration. Here's an example we're watching right now, by the way. Good timing. Good timing on that. Good timing on that. A team of players who are together, look what they can do compared to a team of mercenaries in England. No, England will probably come back and win, but still. But no, it's like you have to give credit to Arsenal because they built a team of players who play for each other. And it's annoying and it's frustrating and all of that, but they do. They do. Liverpool, the best example of this. When you look at their midfield, Henderson, Milner, Firmino, Matip, these were not these superstar players. I'm sorry people think that they were, but they weren't. But they played together really, really well. They played together really, really well. They committed to each other fully, 100%. And look what it's done for them. And look where they ended up with that. I
Tuchel is the most overrated manager of all
he
time.
He easily is. I cannot stand Thomas Tuchel. Ouch, that's a big fall from the goalkeeper there. And I think that's a good example of it. Now, I understand talking about City like the mercenaries. I don't think that's necessarily true, to be honest. But I will give credit to Pep Guardiola on that, by the way, because Pep Guardiola and the culture at City it's a very weird thing to look at City, because I do understand, but you also do have to bear in mind, like, they spent a lot of money, no doubt about that, but I think people look at that. It's complicated, right? Because they cheat. Financially, they cheated to have the kind of money that they could spend and to do as much as they could do. And there's no getting over that and getting past that.
Liverpool hasn't dominated since the 70s.
Yes. But they also spent a ton of money during the 2000s trying to build a team until they got it right. But, City cheated, no doubt about that. But if you talk to people in football, they have always had one of the most convincing football projects. You have to credit their football people, all right? forget, the club itself doing what they've done, at the owner level, pumping money in, things like that. That's their own decisions. So, in the emails and the things that leaked, it's the owners, right? It's not the director of football. It's not these guys that were doing it. It's them. But they were, if you do talk to people in football, they had the most like a very, very strong football project, and they had Pep. Players came to play for Pep. Okay, there is that factor, having a manager that players want to come for. Is Anderson going as a mercenary? Yep. How's it going to work? I don't think it will. That's why I don't think City are going to succeed anymore. I think they're going to flounder post Pep, because now you're talking about the mercenary era. That's what they're going to enter. They're going to enter the pay huge fees and huge wages as your only way to convince players era. That's what City are entering right now. But when they had Pep, players came for Pep, and they would live and die for Pep. That's the truth. People don't want to hear it, but it's true. They did, right? That matters. The coach does matter. The coach can be a pull, and that's what City had with Pep that they don't have now, and why I think it's never going to be the same for them anymore as it was before. But it matters, man. It really, really matters, this thing. I would much rather have a team of guys playing for the badge, playing for the club, playing together. Now, look, we have one small issue, which is that Michael Carrick isn't a draw. It is a little bit of an issue. He's not a draw that players are going to come for. That's one of the advantages of having a big name. I'm not saying our other coaches were, by the way, but that is one thing you do lose that makes it a little bit harder. They won before Pep. They did, but they did. And again, they financially pumped a ton of money in there, and I know that the gap is there, but they also did it at the time. They definitely timed it right, because they were up and coming at the end of Sir Alex's tenure, and before Liverpool got serious, and before Arsenal got serious again, and they definitely boosted themselves up to the level to be able to bring Pep. Yeah. But look, when you can financially outstrip everybody and buy decent players, obviously, once again, there's a gap in there. But Liverpool were able to compete with them regularly in terms of points and everything. But you can't replicate City. I've always kind of said City's sort of the outlier in all of this for us. We tried the money aspect. We tried that approach. But it's okay. But yeah, I'm not particularly worried about Spurs when I look at their plan. I mean, I think it's kind of funny they sold Vuskovic today for nearly £50 million. He's better than the center backs they're buying. They're just doing kind of crazy things. Shenanigans. Yeah, they were. Look, they definitely bent every single rule to be able to do what they did City at the same time. But I'm talking like when you look at it on the pitch, you cannot tell me that players didn't play for Pep. You know what I'm saying? You cannot tell me that players didn't come for him as well, and that they weren't committed to him. That he wasn't an inspiring leader in that way. You know what I'm saying? You can't say that they didn't. City had a good team ethic at the end of the day. We may not like that, but they did. It's frustrating. But honestly, Arsenal and Liverpool are much better examples, and I think City will fall off now post Pep. Arsenal and Liverpool are much better ideas, ideas of how you how you can rebuild properly. But yeah, look, I mean, I'm when people start getting real negative, I like to a degree I go the other way, because there's a balance that we need to find in terms of our worry about United at this point. And right now it's okay. Right now, I firmly believe we're in good position, and right now I also believe that the things I've heard about players and such is not even close to as negative as what's out there and keeps being reported over and over and over again. But it is really, really funny seeing it the last month because it was like constant repeat of false positivity on. Wow, that's quite a cross. Constant rehashing of false positivity on Mateus when I kept saying nope, nope, nope. And then it's constant rehashings of what I see as overstated and false negativity on other players. So we'll see, man. There's options. There's a lot of options out there. There's a lot of options out there. And I really do think we'll get some good ones. And there's so many players for me that work, but you know, my views on our midfield as well is not like Tchouaméni is obviously like the big fish, the like I've said before, like the one that solves everything. Where I'm after that, I could not care what happens, you know, after if we can get Tchouaméni done. If we don't get Tchouaméni done, that doesn't mean our midfield's going to be bad. It doesn't mean our midfield isn't going to be awful. You know, it doesn't mean any of that. It's just because there are a lot of other good options. There'd be a lot of other players I'd be quite happy with. I think our midfield has been absolutely destitute for a long time. And no one can ever convince me that we were ever going to play well with, you know, with Casemiro. I think Carrick has, the more time goes on, the more I think Carrick did an unreal job to get the results that we've gotten out of him, out of having Casemiro in our midfield with how much we had to sacrifice to use him. I have big credit on that. And no, not average, because you have Bruno and Kobe. How can it be average? That's the part that confuses me. Is there a better two players than Bruno and Kobe in a starting midfield? I mean, it's the part that's always confused me that when I've been talking about people for, you know, for a while about our midfield, where I'm confused. Because you talk to people and it's Bruno's the best number 10. You talk to people, Kobe, world-class potential number 8. Okay, so then what's the problem, man? What team in the Premier League right now has 3 world-class midfielders? Give me one. That's 3 world-class midfielders. If those players are so good, why are we so stressed, man? I just don't understand that. Why are we so stressed? We need a good partner for them that gives them the freedom to work. You know what I mean? That's all I'm saying. Like, we need a good partner. Who has 3? Well, I'm not talking about me. You know? I'm talking about the general view of things. Oh. Congo done really well here. Oh, they've got England on the fences a little bit. Oh. Uh-oh. Oh. Turnover. Oh, that's a foul. That's a hefty foul, too. Jude's been shit. That's all I'm saying. Like, what I don't understand is when people talk about Bruno and Kobe, and then they talk about their midfield, they're like, we're going to be relegated. Well, hold on a second, man. What the hell, dude? Like, if Bruno and Kobe are as good as people talk about, then how the hell would we be relegated? It's a better midfield than City's post Rodri's injury. But it's not those people. It's not the people saying Kobe is crap that are worried about it. It's not them. It's everyone else. It's the people who will sit there and straight to your face say, if you raised any concerns about Kobe or this or that you're anti-United and you don't get it, And then at the same time, they'll be like, oh, we're going to be relegated. But we have Bruno and Kobe. I don't understand. It's like, it's the same people that are like, one sec, guys. Sorry, my dog was going absolutely nuts. Just had to sort that out real quick. But that's all I'm saying, man. Like, I've seen so many people talk about how any criticism of those players is tantamount to treason, but then will tell you on the out of the other side of their mouth that somehow we're going to be terrible with those two players in our midfield. I don't get it. I genuinely don't get it. Kobe would have benched for. I think so too. I think so too. I think so too. I think that Mateus would have been ended up as Kobe's rotation, and Ederson would have started with a very short amount of time. And I still think that, by the way.
Is somebody to screen the centre backs and defend transitions if Kobe is really that good. Just adequate distribution.
Yeah. And I actually think that Ederson will do a good job there. Like, oh, Jude's been terrible. Like, people think I'm making it up when I say this, but Ederson, Kobe, Bruno is a good midfield. It's a very good midfield. Ederson can defend the transitions. Ederson is very, very safe, comfortable with the ball, on the pass, in the dribble, out of the press. It's a very good midfield. It'll do very well in a lot of games. If that was it, I'm not, obviously we need more than that. Obviously we need better than that. But it's a good midfield. That midfield would work for the majority of Premier League games. It gives you some of everything you need, honestly. And when you look at how Carrick utilizes Bruno Fernandes and the way that Bruno's been playing over the last year, Rashford, he keeps, he drops deeper. He distributes the ball. He progresses it. He's become a much more all-rounder by the way of playing anyway. It's not bad. It's like, it works. I'm not saying it's enough players or that it's all we should aim for, but what I'm saying is that group of 3 will be good. That group of 3 will work, and it will work well. It's a strong midfield. It's a very successful midfield. It's a very balanced midfield, which is the most important thing. It has quite a lot of everything. It'll be good. Like, that will win a lot of games. I think against smaller sides, it's actually potentially one of our best balanced, things. You're giving the freedom for Kobe and Bruno to attack against loaded boxes and defenses and things like that. And with Ederson, you have one of the best players out there in defending and breaking up transitions and covering ground. It's quite good. Tchouaméni would be better. And I would definitely prefer Tchouaméni. Tchouaméni to me elevates that. But it still works with Ederson. That's why they bought him. That's why they bought him. That's why he's there. And the club rate him highly. Depends what good is challenge for top 4, but nothing more. I don't know, man. You shouldn't make the poll fun. I know. I did it tongue in cheek because I thought it'll be all right. I was sure people would vote negatively, but it was just for fun. No, people don't want to hear, but Ederson is definitely a steal. Scott, Cobby, Bruno, very PSGS midfield, James. Yeah, I agree as well. I'm very intrigued by Alex Scott. The Liverpool mid was not superstars, just great chemistry. Yeah. I don't like analysis on fans, more so on personal opinions because all fans are yeah. I mean, fans, it doesn't really matter. I guess my point is that the club, right? At the end of the day, the club who are the experts in the matter, bought Ederson for a reason because they think he can fit right into that midfield. Not because, and that's why I've always the problem I think that I've had is that a lot of people, because of how things have been like reported over the last few, like in the lead up to summer, a lot of people see Ederson as like this crap, like we signed him just for depth type of thing. And I think it's a really poor way of I think it's a super disservice the way it's been reported and is not accurate at all. Like even a little bit. He's signed because he's a really good player. Last summer, he was our target to be our starting midfielder. It's just the truth. So that hasn't changed. Obviously, they think we can get more than that, and we need multiple starting level midfielders. United want multiple starting level midfielders. They didn't sign him to be a backup. They just didn't. It's just such a lazy take. He was the guy they wanted to be the starting midfielder last summer until Atalanta put a hands-off price on him, and they hoped to get him to sign a new contract and such as well. So, but he was viewed as a player that could start in our midfield. He was the main target going into summer to start in our midfield. So, that's what we got. That's what we got. That's where we go. That's where we're. That's what we have. That's the player we've signed already, a starting level player. I hope we'll sign 2 more. But I think it'll be. I think we'll be fine. I think it's just overly negative on too many accounts. Sadiki would be nice. You got a yellow there, huh? Oy. Yeah, I hear that on Serie A, but I think you have to bear in mind like what, Amrabat was not ever good. The Amrabat thing was hilarious. Amrabat literally was living off of the World Cup. I do hope people realize that. There was a reason that United didn't want to buy him and only did a loan. Even during the Ten Hag era, the club were like, no, we're not buying this player. Even during the Ten Hag era, the club refused to buy him. They didn't want to spend the money on him. It was literally just because he played for Ten Hag and the World Cup. It wasn't because he was actually good. It never was. You know what I mean? And Scott McTominay, I hear you, but he's not a midfielder, and he's never been a midfielder. And if you watch him in Italy, he's never been a good midfielder. He's never been a good midfielder at Napoli. He's not a midfielder. He's a second striker. He's a box crasher. Oh, good save. That's what he is. He's a box crasher. That's what he was. He's never been a good midfielder in Serie A. He's been a very good forward in Serie A, not a midfielder. But he was a good forward in the Prem. You know what I mean? Scott was a good attacker in the Premier League. He scored a lot of goals that year. He was never a good midfielder, and he's never been a good midfielder, and he's a shit midfielder for Scotland too. He's a box crasher. He's a forward. And that's fine, man. But I'm just saying that it's a bit they're not really the same, I guess I would say, those situations. Let's start for United. Where? Where would he start for United? Rashi. Where would he start for United? Neither Amrabat or McTominay would have a place in this United team. Yeah, we were talking about McTominay and Amrabat, not Alex Scott. Rather have McTominay than Xerxes? That's fair. As a backup striker, I'd probably rather have McTominay than Xerxes too. I mean, it's kind of funny because it's like same for me for Casemiro. I don't think he's a good midfielder for years, but he's still a great box crasher. It's like McTominay in a totally different way, but a good just that incredible timing in the box. Yeah, as a midfielder, people always forget about that kind of stuff. Yeah. Apparently, Bruno Guimaraes has an agreement. Oof. Oh, God, Congo nearly there again, man. Jed Spence is getting killed over there. Absolutely killed. Apparently, there's a report that Bruno Guimaraes has some sort of agreement, was reported previously too, at around 80 million euros. It's a little old for United's midfield rebuild is the only problem, but he is excellent. I would take him. We do have a bit of an age problem when you factor in Bruno Fernandes and such as well, where we do need a bit of we need to keep the ages a bit under control. Who's winning so far, Wan-Bissaka or Rashford on that side? Because so far I'm going to say Wan-Bissaka. Yeah, Bruno G, yeah. Bruno Guimaraes is really, really good, man. But yeah, with the ages and things we have in our midfield, I just don't think we can afford to buy a player at his age. Because we did look at it earlier and we passed it up essentially. And yeah, it looks like he's a very strong chance he goes to Arsenal, right? We did pass it up. I kind of understand. Like, he'd be so good to have. He's so good. I think he'd be an insane signing for United. But for our midfield rebuild, it's a problem. It is a problem. Like, it's just too old. Then it's a couple years for him, couple years for Bruno, and they're gone, and you're right back. And you're right back to needing a midfield again, and you're old. Yeah, so it's like, as a player, 100%, I take him in a heartbeat. Circumstantially, I can understand not signing him. Yeah, we need a few people in the 22 to 26 bracket for sure. Because we have Ederson at 26. Yeah, I don't know. Tchouaméni still just makes the most sense. Tchouaméni and Scott to me is perfect. Buwadi and Scott is good. Oh, Kane. Oh, what a block. Madueke. Oh, Rashford. Oh my God, Wan-Bissaka off the line. Forgot how many players I know in this Congo team. Twanzebe, Wan-Bissaka, Sadiki. Damn. I forgot Twanzebe plays for Congo as well. Like, blast from the past here. All these former United defenders. Wissa, right? Yeah, they have a good team. Their team's actually a lot. You know, it's not superstar Latin, obviously, but notable players, Sadiki and Wissa, and yeah. I completely forgot about Twanzebe. Yeah, but yeah, Premier League players. You know, obviously not better than England, but hey, they're winning. Yeah, Twanzebe can have games like this. Remember him against Mbappe? Against PSG. What a game, dude. Sold us all absolute dreams about what he could be that game with Twanzebe, man. I was on another level. He's always capable of that. He's always had that game in his locker where he can just come out of nowhere and just do something incredible. Just an out of control game. Mbemba, Masuaka. Yeah, yeah. I had high hopes, man. High hopes. Buyback clause? No, he sued the club. Remember, there's no way he's coming back. He's literally in ongoing litigation against Manchester United. There's no way. Yeah, the injuries hurt a lot of our young defenders, didn't they? So no return? Yeah, I don't think so. It doesn't sound like it. Although everybody he's suing is probably gone, to be fair. And you just need to deliver pressures on. For sure, for sure. No doubt. Is this an England hate watch? No, no, it's not. I'm very neutral on it. I'm just enjoying the game. I am a little bit of a Tuchel hate watcher, but not England.
Unpopular opinion, but why did we sell Wan-Bissaka?
Because he just isn't good enough at right back. He's a really good defender, but not good enough on the front foot. I think selling Wan-Bissaka is fine. Yeah, I just root for good games. That's most of this World Cup, man. Although we do have USA tonight, guys. We do have the US tonight. Okay, if you can hate watch. The audience here is whatever. This is not a pro England or anything audience. It's just enjoy the game, man. Enjoy the World Cup. Wherever you sit, that's great.
Are you opposed to Rashford coming back? Any thoughts?
Yes, but for a variety of reasons that are not because I don't like Marcus Rashford or anything like that, because that's not the case. I quite like Marcus Rashford. But I don't want him back for a variety of reasons because I don't think it'll work. Not because I just don't think it's going to work. And I think that there are problems, so many problems that will show up with it on so many areas for him and for the club. It's just not worth it. It has too much negativity that will go with it very soon. Could I put Nemcha on the board? Yeah, I suppose we might as. I won't add Tyler Adams to the board just to save people's sanity for now. I'm telling you, when we were first linked to him years ago, I kept saying Nemeka, and people kept correcting me. It's Nemcha, it's Nemcha, it's Nemcha, it's Nemcha. Now I say Nemcha, and people jumping on my back saying it's not Nemcha. You guys need to make up your mind on pronunciations, man. Not my fault. I'm pretty sure it is Nemcha, because I remember looking into it years back, last year maybe. Oh my god, how's Wissa not scored? I think it's Nemeka. That's what I was said all last year. All last year, when we were first linked to him, I kept saying Nemeka, 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 Nemeka. And people kept going, it's not Nemeka, it's Nemcha. Nemcha. And I kept going, that doesn't make any sense because the M is after the N. Why would there be an E in there? And people kept saying, no, it's Nemcha, it's Nemcha, it's Nemcha. What the hell? Kane goes down. Dive. Dive. Ref says dive. Let's see on a replay here. What's going on? Well, that looks like that's a dive for me, man. He leaves his legs hang. Nah, he initiates contact. That's a dive. That's a dive. I'm sorry, that's a dive. He initiates the contact there, looking for it. Drags his feet. He's going down. He's going down way before the contact for me. It's a dive. For me, it's a dive. For me, it's a dive. Ref's been giving England all the calls for days. For me, it's a dive. Dive, 100%. Refs got to stop. I'm glad they're giving the right call. Yeah, he 100% put his foot into him. That's a correct call, man. He goes to ground before the contact even is happening. Nemeka is pronounced Nemeka. I'm going to lose my shit, man. Because people were making fun of me all last year about Nemeka. People were Nemetcha? Nemetcha. So is it Nemeka or Nemetcha? Is it ch or a k? Is it a ch sound or a k sound? Nemetcha? Not he, but the rest of the tournament. They should have got a pen. Congo should have beaten them, or Ghana should have beaten them. Namecha. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. Namecha. All right, cool. Namecha. That makes sense to me. Cha. Okay, perfect. Thank you, guys. Guy himself says cha. Okay. Namecha. Cool. The main thing to take away is I'm pronouncing it wrong. Yeah, I agree. We need time for the midfield to bed in, but if they're at the World Cup, what are we going to do about it? Tyler Adams and Berg get used to it. Oh, another crazy save. Holy dude. Yeah, we need time for the midfield to get going, but it's tough. It was supposed to be Ederson. That's why they got him in early, because then he was going to work with Ederson was going to work with well, Cobby's gone, but Ederson was going to be in there to work in the midfield, but now he's gone too. He was supposed to have time to bed in and expected to be a player who could start for us at certain points here early on in the season, especially. But it's a bit of an issue. Congo's goalkeeper is pretty good. It's African goalkeepers at cup tournaments, man. I told people you got to watch out. They'll surprise you. You can't just write them off. Happens every tournament. Couple African goalkeepers will just turn in some crazy performance out of nowhere. And then people are surprised.
England is 100% not making it past Mexico.
Oh, I don't think they'll be, yeah.
Altitude, even if they win
I don't think they will. They're just nothing in there. Their team is so dry. They might, again, they'll probably do better second half. I'm still certainly expecting them to win this one, to be honest. But they're dry, man. They're cold chested, is how I would put it. And playing at the Azteca against Mexico, I can't see that. I can't see how they win there. I just can't. Mexico are in such good spirit, form, the environment, the attitude, the altitude, everything that goes into that game. I can't see it. Sadiki Schooling Anderson, another player we could sign. But I said this about Anderson. It's exactly why I made that tweet about Mateus Fernandez, because it's the same problem. They're weak in certain areas, very, very weak in certain areas. Anderson is as well. And that was my main concern, is that you bring in one of them and oh, look at him go. And you bring in one of them and you don't solve this huge problem of transitions and certain aspects. Anderson is not a 6. Anderson is just not a 6, man. He's just not a 6. So we shouldn't have bought him? No, we can have different we can have different profiles, you know what I'm saying? Different profiles. But that's why you don't want to overpay on someone like Mateus Fernandez. You don't want to overpay because you have different profiles and you need to balance the team, and they're not necessarily going to be your everyday starter for every single game. You know what I mean? That's what I'm talking about. It's like, that's why you can't overpay, because you're going to need to flex your different positions, your different everything. It's not about needing a 6. It's about the attributes that they have. 6 is just an easy way to describe attributes. I don't know why people get so worked up about calling them that. A 6, when one says a 6, usually it's a guy who is a defend first player that can have that discipline to shield the back 4. Every team has someone who does that. It's bullshit to say they don't. Rodri absolutely 100% did it for City. Fabinho did it for Liverpool. Caicedo does it for Chelsea. Gravenberch does it for Liverpool now. Every single team has a 6 of some sort. They have one player in the pivot or in the 3 who shields the back line, and that is one of their more primary responsibilities, breaking up transitions, shielding the back line, and they're a little more focused on that aspect. Every team uses one. The idea that it's not doesn't exist anymore is crap. The idea that there's necessarily completely pure 6s, sure, it's gone out of style. There's not that many of them out there. Every single club uses someone who has a primary responsibility of breaking up transitions and shielding the back line. Every one of them. Every single one. So it's not a thing that doesn't exist. It's about every team has one. It's just, you know, do they have a player who's good at those things, good at those attributes in particular?
If we missed Chumani?
I think that I have no information on this, because the latest I had was that we wouldn't pursue Baleba. So much has changed since then. I haven't asked again. I could see it happening, but yeah, Anderson can do that. No, he can't. He's not good at that. That is not his skill set. It's the same as it's not Kobe's skill set, and it's the same as it's not Mateus Fernandez's skill set. It is not their strength. Anyone can do it. It's not their strength. Most often, guys like Anderson and Mateus Fernandez are better when you unlock them with the freedom to defend up the pitch, to defend out, to defend around the pitch, not to defend in front and shield the back 4. We did have one. It was Casemiro. And the problem is that because he was so slow, obviously we had to sit deeper to cover up for some of the deficiencies. But he absolutely shielded the back line in the box. And I mean, remember the Liverpool game when Casemiro stopped sitting deep in the back line and ran up and played forward inexplicably at 2-0 for no reason, and we ended up conceding a bunch of goals? That's exactly why you do need someone doing that job. That was one of the most baffling things I've ever seen. Can't understand it. To this day, that game, man, that really pissed me off. Dominating Liverpool, destroying it, doing so well, killing them, and then just out of the blue randomly, hey, let's take Casemiro from deep and throw him up at striker. What the hell, man? He or Carrick, I don't know who, whatever they were thinking. Just, that was so stupid. One of the weirdest in-game changes I've ever seen in my life. He just wanted to score his last game against Liverpool, maybe. I don't know who did it. No one will ever know, Satyajit. Who knows? Is Tuchel finished if he loses? 100%. No one better ever rate this guy again. They get knocked out here. I can't stand Tuchel. Welcome, Kira-kun. Oh, somebody joined earlier and I saw it and I forgot to say something. I missed it. Somebody joined the promo a bit earlier and I missed it. Apologies for that, but welcome, Kira-kun. Nagelsmann and Tuchel been crazy, crazy, crazy. Didn't know about the dugout changes, did you? You know nothing. What were the dugout changes? What happened? I saw something about the dugout changes at Old Trafford. They gave him an extension. Well, England are committed to failure.
James, one question, mate. Where's Cobby, brother? I can't see some new shirts. Thoughtful face emoji.
I don't know. You will see new shirts. Whoa, shit. Will Ederson? It depends if Brazil make the final. If Brazil don't make the final, then you'll see at least Ederson. But there definitely could be one more. Carrick into Pochettino is the way. I agree. Carrick, if it works, great. If it doesn't, into Pochettino is the only answer. It's destiny. Destiny. If it doesn't work. If it doesn't work. None of this Nagelsmann, none of these other guys. Bring Pochettino home if Carrick doesn't work. Nothing else will do. We need to stop it trying to run from this. We need only United-coded coaches. Pochettino's one of them. Carrick's one. We'll see if it works. Pochettino is the only alternative I would accept at this point. I don't want any other coach besides him or Carrick. That's it. No one else. No one else should be considered at this club. No one else is worthy.
November.
Quiet, quiet. Stop it. Stop hoping for our downfall, okay? We change managers in November. It means we've had another bad season. I don't want that at all. All the TV people want Kane Dive to be a clear pen, feel gaslit. Just England. England, great. The great England exceptionalism. You can't debate things with English fans about England. They have delusions of grandeur. I think Edison is all right, but our next moves are key. Yeah. Agreed. Rudy said it's not a pen. That's my goat right there. That's my goat right there. Wayne Rooney. That's the guy. Who do I rate higher, Scott? For me, I think that Scott is a player who would be better immediately and would have a much safer adjustment period. In terms of where they could go, I still think Alex Scott could be exceptional. I think Mateus could be too, but I actually think that I've said this for quite some time that I think Scott would be a better signing for us. So for us, I think Scott has more potential. Huh. Is Chouameni and Scott possible? Yeah. It's not a financial problem. It's not a financial problem, guys. There's no financial problem. Forget the financial problems. It's not because we can't afford things. It's not because we're cheap. None of that matters, man. It's not an ambition problem. It isn't an ambition problem. It's not a cheap problem. It's not an ambition problem. It's none of those things. We've walked away from 3 targets over price, and it's not a financial problem. Who are the 3? Did we add one for fun here? Who are the 3? Is the third Tenali? Standards problem? Like I said, man, it's like if you go to McDonald's for a $5 Happy Meal and they want to charge you $20, it doesn't mean you're not hungry if you walk away and go somewhere else. You might still be hungry. Doesn't mean you don't need to eat. It just means you didn't want to pay double the price what something is worth. You want to buy a house and you go and you say that house is probably worth $800,000 and they price it at $1.3 million. Doesn't mean you don't want a home just because you won't pay it. You go to the dealership and you try to buy that BMW for $50,000 like it's supposed to be, like you think it's going to be, and it's $80,000. Doesn't mean you don't want a car. It means you don't want to buy an $80,000 car that ain't worth it. It's pretty simple. It's like this is basic stuff. I mean, anytime anyone buys anything, they will look at the price to value and say, does it make sense? Because funds aren't unlimited. That's not a financial problem. Unless you have unlimited funds, which nobody has, you have to think that way. In football, you just can't. All right, second half. Oh, shit. My timer's probably all screwed up, isn't it? Completely forgot about that. All right, there we go. It's probably still ticking ahead, huh? I do think we'll have to overpay. Yeah, I mean, I think we're going to have to overpay a bit. And I think we were willing. Like, if you look at the Mateus Fernandez thing, 60, 65 plus 20 to 80 million is already an overpay. We were willing to overpay. Not guaranteed, because that would have been an absurd overpay. But even that offer was an overpay. 65 plus 15, that's an overpay for Mateus Fernandez. We were willing to overpay. Just there's a limitation to that overpay, okay? And that was 85 flat, was way outside that overpay limitation. We've already shown our willingness to overpay. Here's what's interesting to me. We were willing to offer somewhere in the range of 65 plus 15, 70 plus 10 for Ederson. I think we'll offer 60 plus 10. I think we'll offer 60 plus 10 for Scott. It's an overpay, but I think we'll be willing to. And it'll force them to look at it. It's just that, you know, there's a limit to how much you're going to want to overpay. So they were already shown a willingness to overpay. But there's still a limit to that. They already went, I mean, probably 20% to 30% over. 20 to 30% over value. That's a lot. But they weren't willing to go 40% over up front because that's insane. There's a limit. Oh. Imagine we overpay in the third is Berg. Then they'll melt down again. Yeah. Yeah. Ain't that the truth? Oops. Manu isn't gonna get a minute. I mean, I figured after not getting it in the obviously in the group, then there's just no way. With the last game being a little bit of a dead rubber. But who knows? Maybe they'll get desperate here if they're not winning by 70th minute and Tuca will actually do something unexpected. Like put on Jordan Henderson. Just kidding. Oh, Jude's attacking that back post. Masuaku found it. Is it just me or does Declan Rice look like extremely exhausted? Like oh, completely over the top exhausted. Just like in his basic movements, he looks exhausted. Congo are almost through there. England have to be careful here. Congo are close to being through here. Ah, Congo have missed a few opportunities there to be absolutely through on goal. Rashford. Ah, side netting. Did everything right till the finish there. Oh my god, off the line again. What is going on here? Good lord. Crazy, man. Yikes. I don't know, man. This is not looking like England's day. They have chances, but dodgy pen indeed. Something like that. Two merchants. Yeah, there's a lot right now. I have my doubts. I've got my concerns, but I have no reason to be negative at the moment about our season. That looks like offsides for England there. Wow, Sapenga's done great. Masuaku, great job there as well. No box presence, bring Watkins. Yeah, maybe I would, if I was England, I might go a little more narrow in the middle, get Watkins with Kane on, add a midfielder to anchor so you can push up a bit higher, let Jude be a bit more free. I don't know. You're concerned, FC? Yeah, that's fair. What's up, Naveen? How you doing? It's very intrigued by this game now. Doesn't feel like there's a ton of invention. Feels like a lot of cross and hope at the moment. Oh, Rashford. This feels like what England are banking on right now is just a lot of cross and hope. Which is, I mean, crossing is fine. It's a good part of a game against a loaded defense, but just feels like they don't have the play through the lines. Chuchota makes subs. Where's that 130 million player? I'm telling you, man, it's just... Oh, wow. Yikes. Terrible turnover there. Why is he not released Wissa there? That ref should have come back for that. But, you know, my thing on it is it's like 130 million for what? You know? What position is he worth 130 million? In what context is he worth 130 million? In what profile? That's always what it comes down to it with footballers. And I think that too often that part gets ignored. That's why I'm saying I don't think Mateus was worth the money for us. And I don't think if you were to buy Anderson to play the role he's playing for England, he's mediocre. When I said it, Mateus is mediocre, I mean it. In the role that, oh, look at Congo here. They're in again. You know, in the role that you're talking about, yeah, mediocre to me is fair. Not mediocre footballer, but Anderson's not a mediocre footballer, but he is mediocre in the role he's playing for England. If you were to buy him for that role, he's just mid. Maybe he can become great in that role, but he's not. Rashford's coming off. Who's subbing on? Saka. Gordon. Saka and Gordon. Okay. Wingers swap again. I like Sadiki. I like the look of him here a lot. Have to factor that Tuchel's stupid. Yeah, I mean, but my point is yes, he's stupid because he's using them wrong. He's not playing into the strengths of the players that he has, but that's sort of my point. That's really the whole point. 1 second, guys. I got to take this really quick. All good. My German Shepherd's at the groomers, and they were just calling to let me know that when she'll be done. Corner for Congo. Sadiki over Anderson. Oh, Jesus. That was a chance. Mbuku, what a shot. That's going corner. Good block from Anderson, to be fair. That's going corner, top corner if that's not blocked. That was a good hit. These wingers are better than the England ones. Maybe Barca should spend 70 million on one of them. Yeah. 130 million should be able to change a game. I agree. I'm not seeing the influence, but I also think that the deployment is wrong. Rice moving like he's 40 today. I'm telling you, I was saying a little earlier, he looks exhausted. He looked exhausted the last game. All those games, all those minutes. Looks just beat. Would we look to João Gomez again? I don't that looked like a foul from Kane. I don't think we will look to João Gomez after getting Ederson. Oh, Congo might be through. Hold on. I don't think we go for Gomez after getting Ederson. Not that they're the same profile, but guess you never know. But I don't think they would go for Gomez after signing Ederson. Imagine Germany, Netherlands, then England. There's still a lot of time in this one, though. Nobody count their chickens here on England getting knocked out yet. Not like they still don't have game changers who can score goals. Like, they're just playing like shit. They have some penetration into attacking zones. That should be a yellow against England there. Konsa, yeah. Did he not give him a yellow? I think Wharton's best position would be left center mid or right center mid as a number 8 and a 3-man. I think a deep lying playmaker, but you're going to need, well, yeah, I think a deep lying playmaker, but you're going to need energy around him. I think he does fit a 4-2-3-1 as a pivot player. It's just you need the right partner. Water break. Man. They're struggling. Let's look at a couple stats. Let's see if I can find some stats here. $60-40, 1.6 to 0.7. They've had their chances. A lot of headers from Jude and such, right? Hmm. Interesting. Morgan Rogers or Watkins I would be bringing on. And Harry Kane looks out of it as well.
Guys, we wanna keep Rashford. Just look at the performance. He's finished, bro. He needs to go. It's embarrassing he got rejected for 25 mil by Barca.
Very, very harsh, but very harsh, but yeah, I think it's best for all parties to separate. It's just kind of that simple to me. Free Cobby. Did Ezzy come on? Who came on? Oh, man. Rice at right back now. The fuck? No, Rice is at right back, huh? Who did he take off? Spence for Eze? Was it Spence for Eze? I mean, at least he's trying to change something, I guess. Good cross into Kane. Trying to get Rice out wide for crosses, it seems like, which isn't the worst plan, to be fair. It really isn't. No, Owen did not, Matt. Not as far as I know. Yeah, he looks old. Close. Surely we need an indication of what Chouamini wants to do before the end of the World Cup. Yeah, some indication. No, I actually like the change to Rice out wide there. His crossing is his best strength attacking, so you can kind of invert a little bit and pull something off here. He's a better crosser of the ball than anyone else they have. Although he just looks exhausted. Why doesn't he bring Maguire on? Yeah, I don't know. Ready to see Kabi come home early with Ahmad? Let's see if Brazil can get by Norway. Oh, good run from Rice. Back posts. They're getting close. The penetration is there. And it's in. They were getting there. You could see it. You could see it. They were getting in tight. And to be fair, again, a lot of it came from Declan Rice getting in from that inverted right back position. It was a good move. Could it be offsides in the initial phase of play? The keeper should have done better with that, to be honest. Yeah, it was a better ball. Yeah, Gordon did well there, to be fair. You hope it doesn't go to pens? Yeah. I have to leave at like 12, so it's 20 minutes. I'm gonna have to run at that time no matter what, no matter how this ends. I have to go pick up my dog. I can't Okay. Now Congo's gonna push him. Rice is at right back. Sauerkraut Southgate. German Shepherd. Yeah, I will be tonight for the USA game. Yep, I'll be here for the USA game. I will. That looks like a foul. Pickford had to get to that one. That was actually quite good from Congo there. It's not England slander. It's been mostly Anderson and Tuchel slander, to be honest. And I think that's still fair. And the amount that England are struggling against these teams in these games under Tuchel is still terrible. Terrible, honestly. Cannot be impressed with Tuchel in this tournament right now. When you're looking at the tougher games to come, Mexico at the Azteca next, they can't play this poorly and get through. Back post again. There's a lot of things that have been negative. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things for England they got to sort out if they want to actually, like, even if they pull through this game and it's just 1-1 right now, they've got to sort some shit out for the next. The squad selection's questionable. Yeah, there's a lot of questionable things, but now they're attacking Rice at right back. Let's see. Oh, nope. Ended well. Nice. Stop Sadiq. Stop Saka there though. Struggling with athletic teams. Yeah. It was an interesting and good move for this game, getting Rice out to that wide area, but yeah, Cobby would solve quite a few problems too, no doubt. No doubt, man. I'm not sure Congo have a way through here, to be honest. I mean, you never say never, but the chances have been getting lower, limited, and more limited all the time. Rice cross again. He's very effective in that spot. I don't think Congo can hang on here, honestly. I can't. I see the. I just. It feels impossible for them to hold on for this next bit. Really does. Ah, Wissa couldn't take that down. He could have gone. He'd been through on goal if he'd taken that down. But Siddiqui still running at this point. He's been everywhere. Any truth on Tchouaméni wanting to stay at Real? I mean, at the moment, yeah, man. Until it's the type of thing where his preference has been to stay at Madrid. We do know that for sure. It's just a matter of, are Madrid making him available do they want to sell him? And again, the idea is that I'm very confident he'd be open to the move to United if it looks like, his future's not at Madrid. And it's more to do with that first, and whether they're going to negotiate a new contract with him or not from his side first to see where it lands. Declan Rice still been everywhere. Fair play to him. Oop. A little space here. Oh, no. They've just taken the shot. There was a little space for Congo there, but they kind of messed it up. Oh, might be through. Jude. Save. Kane. Oh, what a goal, Kane. You knew it was coming, man. What a goal from Kane. Wow. What a goal from... Wow, what a goal. That's incredible. Oof. What a goal, man. That's incredible. Unbelievable. England, Mexico at the Azteca. England, Mexico at the Azteca. That's going to be a game, man. That is going to be a game. That's a crazy hit, man. It's all about forwards this World Cup. You just got to score, man. Whew. Incredible. That's insane from Kane, man. What a goal, dude. Gordon, 2 assists. Woo. I think I'm going to be here for the US game because I didn't schedule the big up one because I wasn't sure if I would be here. Yeah, so I think I'll be here for it. All right, Congo making a couple more changes to try and go for this. We'll see. Is Mexico City higher than Denver? The Azteca, yeah, it's 7,000 something feet. Yeah, it's brutal, yeah. England look tired now. That's going to be tough to deal with, but we'll see. Especially with all the travel they've been doing. High altitude heat, poor air quality. Yeah, it's tough. Expect Rice to have if he's tired now, man. 6 minutes. Make it higher than how the hell they can get. Okay. Yeah, well, that's the thing. It's a home game. Like it's there's not a lot of home games in the World Cup, but that's a home game. That piece for Congo here. England needs to go to Denver to practice. Yeah, true. I'm surprised not more teams came to Denver, you know? Especially if you were going to go. John Stone's coming on. Declan Rice coming off. Yeah, he looks exhausted. A fair change. Yeah, it's more of a home game than anywhere that. Yeah, agreed on that for sure, 100%. Yeah, Mexico at the Azteca is definitely the most home game of the entire World Cup. Poor from Congo there, that free kick. Still have a chance. Oh, terrible cross, horrible cross. What a waste. That might do it. That didn't look like a foul on Congo, I'm not going to lie. I don't know what the ref's doing there. That's a weird one for me. What's the foul for? Weird. Don't know about that. What a goal by Kane, man. Just keep watching that, and it's like unbelievable. Two minutes left. Are Congo going to make one more chance? Do they have one more shot at this? Feels like they're rushing a little bit too much on trying to actually get forward here. One minute left. Oh. Oh, that's a foul. Dangerous free kick spot. Hey. This might be Congo's last chance. Dangerous spot. This is it. This is it for Congo. I don't know if they have someone who's good enough to take this kick, to be honest. We'll see about Wissa here, but not sure that would be my pick, but I don't know enough. You take any free kicks? You need if you have a Messi or something, you're worried about this, but this my prediction is it goes right into the wall. Wasn't the worst. Wasn't the worst, but that's that. That's it. Wasn't it? Wasn't it? Not a terrible kick, but I don't think he's got it the right direction for a goal there. That's it. Oof. England have pulled it off. Well, that was close. All right, guys, I've got to run pretty quick here now. Once again, I thank you all for hanging out with me today. I appreciate you all very much. I will be back later for US versus Bosnia tonight. Congratulations to England progressing to another round against Mexico at the Azteca on Sunday. See you all later. Have a good night, everybody. Or good rest of your day. It's not really nighttime, is it?